Your family. Today we are kicking it off because we got some breaking news, and definitely I got to get into it. Right, let's get into it. I'm not even going, I'm not going to, I just want to talk about it. Real talk, man. Kyrie Irving was just traded to the Dallas Mavericks, right? So Kyrie Irving is now going to play alongside with Luka Doncic on the Dallas Mavericks. This news just broke out, right? This is crazy. I don't even know how to really even put this all together. How did it come to this? How did it get to this point? This is a crazy scenario. This is a crazy situation. We've heard so many different things come into fruition, but now it's finally done. It's a done deal. Kyrie Irving is on the Dallas Mavericks. Now that I got that out there, now that I just, I put out that breaking news, please like and subscribe to the video. Hit that bell, that notification button. I'm going to get more into it. Before I get into that, please cue the intro. All right. So now that we got that out the way, now we can have something to discuss, and I can get deeper into this topic. So, there was a lot of things circulating around the Kyrie Irving situation. There were so many different things that factored in what was going on. And it got to a point where, Kyrie Irving had requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, and there was a lot going on from the background that we hadn't seen, heard, talked about. But one thing we were talking about is, where is Kyrie Irving going, and the fact that he requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, right? Kyrie Irving had he wanted a long-term deal. He wanted to stay with the Brooklyn Nets initially, or at least that's what we had heard or seen in recent memory. But things started to get a little toxic between Kyrie Irving and the front office with Joe Tsai and Sean Marks. And then, after Kyrie Irving had requested a trade, there were numerous teams that were going after Kyrie Irving, right? So we clearly know that the Los Angeles Lakers were one of the teams that wanted to get Kyrie Irving. It was just a matter of, what can they offer and can they capitalize off the situation, right? And then another team that just got into the mix, I didn't get a chance to talk about because it blew up yesterday. And then I was talking about NFL yesterday, but the Los Angeles Clippers were amongst one of the teams that were in pursuit to acquire Kyrie Irving, right? And I even talked about the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks, as of recently, Luka has been balling, playing at an MVP level, right? And we've heard some things with Dallas Mavericks desperately looking for help for Luka Doncic, right? Desperately doing anything they can to make sure that they can bring a star or bring something or bring someone on this team to see if the Dallas Mavericks can do anything with this roster, right? So let's get into the trade details. I can pull that up here in just a bit so we can see how this came about and how this came to be, right? So this is what's going on, right? So Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris is going to the Dallas Mavericks. That was kind of just thrown out there. I'm assuming, because of the whole salary situation, you have to match contracts when you're doing a trade. And then so the Brooklyn Nets, in exchange for trading Kyrie Irving, is going to receive Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029 first round pick, and 2027 and 2029 second round picks, right? So for those that might not know, Spencer Dinwiddie did play with the Brooklyn Nets some time ago and somehow got onto the Dallas Mavericks. But now he seems to be back on that team. And I don't think Spencer Dinwiddie is a bad player. I think he's a good supplementary player. I think he's a good role player. Obviously, he's not no Kyrie Irving. But, with this whole situation, with everything that circles around Kyrie Irving, there's always so many different headlines. You never know what to expect. I mean, nobody really even expected Kyrie Irving to be traded to begin with, which is the crazy thing about it, right? So Kyrie Irving, there were so many different headlines going back to the situation with the book and him reposting with the book. And another thing, with the COVID situation and whether he was going to play out his contract and, staying here and playing with Kevin Durant. There were so many things that was just circling around Kyrie Irving. I mean, I could say the same thing over and over, but you guys know exactly what I mean, right? You never know with Kyrie Irving. You never know what's going to go down. You never know what's going to happen, right? And then so for it to even get to this point was shocking, to say the least. I'm not shocked that the Dallas Mavericks went after Kyrie Irving in this trade. Seeing how the team had just gotten out or had just went to a Western Conference appearance, right? The Western Conference Finals. You can pretty much assume, the Dallas Mavericks wanted to at least go to the finals this year, or be in a position to at least compete, in the same fashion that they did last year. Now, looking at the Dallas Mavericks this year, Luka Doncic has been playing phenomenal, averaging over 30 points and damn near triple-double on the season. And if the Dallas Mavericks were in a better situation, if they were in a winning situation, right, I think they would look at this situation completely different. But it's very Luka heavy, it's very top heavy as it comes to the roster, and then so they needed some other stars. They needed somebody to complement Luka Doncic, right? So the Dallas Mavericks had came to a conclusion that Kyrie Irving was that player that they thought they needed in order to help this roster, right? So what do I think? First off, tell me what you guys think in this situation. I'm very curious to see, what do you guys think about this trade? Do you guys think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be better now? Do you guys think the Dallas Mavericks are going to go deep into the playoffs? That is where it's going to get very, very interesting. And so my opinion is, I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are going to do anything in the Western Conference. I'm just keeping it 100. I'm keeping it in a stack here. Even though I do think Kyrie Irving is a fantastic player, he can easily average damn near 27, 25 to 30 points in a season. With the added with Luka Doncic complimenting him, Luka Doncic is playing alongside with a player not only has championship experience but can also ball and get the ball in the hole. This is a extremely big upgrade from Spencer Dinwiddie, right? This is a crazy upgrade from Spencer Dinwiddie, but there's still so many things that factor into this trade, right? Because first off, Kyrie Irving has to ball in the playoffs. He has to play in the playoffs. We know one of the biggest things that circle around Kyrie is, his presence, being on the court. It's not a matter of him being on the court and questioning if he's going to ball or not. The big question is, will he stay healthy, and will he prioritize basketball, right? So that's been the biggest thing, and that's been the biggest thing to kind of take away from this entire situation. And I think that's really what it comes down to. That's really what it comes down to, man. And then so there were also other things that I did want to bring up, with this Kyrie Irving situation, because there were still headlines coming out. There were still things people were talking about. People were saying, or some headlines were saying, that Kyrie Irving the Nets were going to sit out Kyrie Irving for the remainder of the first half of the season. So basically, the Nets were going to sit Kyrie out until he was traded, which was by the trade deadline. Clearly, he got traded today, so I'm assuming he's not going to be sitting. He is going to take some time to, move, get acclimated, get into his situation, so he can start getting in Dallas and get accustomed there. But sooner than later, I can see Kyrie Irving playing in the near future, probably maybe late this week or maybe even mid by Wednesday, right? So with this situation with the Dallas Mavericks, this puts him in the forefront to at least be able to compete. Now, I don't know if this is going to put them over the top with certain teams. Obviously, the West is out in the open. It's an open competition. Even though with the Denver Nuggets, they're playing phenomenal. Jamal Murray, I believe he dropped over 40 points yesterday. So there's also that. Bubba Murray is doing his thing. He's coming back and he's doing his thing. But with that being said, if we consider all the other competition in the West, the Golden State Warriors in particular haven't looked great recently. The Memphis Grizzlies have had, a lot of ups and downs this year. Steven Adams is hurt, so they haven't particularly looked the same. But I still believe in the Memphis Grizzlies to get healthy by the time playoff time come around. They're going to be back into the team that we've seen them to be. The Sacramento Kings is in the hunt to be in the playoffs in such a very, very long time, right? But do I look at the Sacramento Kings as one of those teams to represent the West? Probably not, right? And then clearly there's also other teams. But let me actually bring that up. Let me bring that up for you guys to see, so we can get a better look at the standings once again. So we can kind of talk about it and see what they're up against in particular. So, right, back at the West, right? So it's the Clippers, Suns, Mavericks, Warriors, Timberwolves, Jazz, Pelicans, and obviously Blazers, OKC, and Lakers. I would say from 1 to 13 are the teams that I would say are in competition to make the playoffs. Obviously, right, only 8 of those teams can actually go and represent the West, but there's still a lot of other teams that, we just got to talk about. There's teams that, like the Clippers, even though they've had a bad stretch of games, especially with the Bucks coming back on them on 20, they still have a full roster, and I don't expect them to be playing any less than how they've been. Anything really, they just need to capitalize on their situation. They just need to key off on games and learn how to close games and just be a little bit more disciplined when things like that come around. Especially in that Bucks game, they were, Kawhi was missing a lot of shots. That team, they were turning over the ball more than they like to in closing moments. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo, he put up 50 in that game to come back from 20. Right. So with that considering, and especially with Devin Booker coming back in the West, the Suns have been getting off good wins, even with Devin Booker out. Right. Mikal Bridges has been playing well also. So I think the West is still out in the open. It's still out there. It really just takes for the Suns, for a team that was number 1 in the West or at the top of the West at some point. And then as soon as Devin Booker gets out, they're in a completely different situation. But now when you have your star back, you're talking a whole different conversation at that point. But that's just the Suns. We talked about the Clippers. We talked about the Suns, Mavericks, right? There's still 6 in the Western Conference. And so adding Kyrie Irving would be a huge, huge plus. But I'm curious to see where this team ends up when it comes down to the final seeding. Now, if I had to make an assumption or if I had to assume, I can see this team being at least at the highest, they could probably be the 3rd seed, anywhere between the 6th and the 3rd seed. I don't see them being number 2. I don't see them being number 1. I think for the most part, the Denver Nuggets are still at the top of this conference. But adding Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks is gonna help for sure. I don't think this is a negative. I don't. Me personally, do I think that Kyrie Irving should have been traded to the Mavericks? Honestly, I felt like the Los Angeles Lakers was the best spot for Kyrie Irving, or even the Clippers. I think the Clippers were just as good, if I'm going to keep it 100 with you, right? So in this particular situation, we're just going to have to see. We're going to see how this works. We're going to see how they play together. We know that Luka Doncic can, have the ball a lot. He has very high usage, right? But I think that's going to offset that with Kyrie Irving, with somebody who can shoot, also create his own shot, and do whatever he can to get the ball in the hole, right? Uncle Drew, we've seen it many, 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 many times before. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, man. Let me drop the link in the comment section. So anybody that wants to chime in, tap in, definitely you guys can tune in whenever and give your thoughts and opinions as it pertains to this trade, because I want to hear it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys have anything to say in regards to the trade, how will this team look by the end of the season? Will they win a championship now? And can the Dallas Mavericks go back to the Western Conference Finals as presently constructed? This is why I say I wait until the trade deadline to talk with a lot more conviction in my voice when it comes to these teams. Because trade deadlines, these teams could look entirely different. These teams could look really, really different. And this is what I mean. This is what I mean why I say I gotta wait for the trade deadline. Because we weren't convinced on Dallas Mavericks, right? Luka Doncic was in and out of games. Obviously, in the games that he would play, he would ball, but he recently got into an injury where I believe it was like lower back or spine or something like that. Nothing too crazy, but I think obviously he's going to be missing some time. But they're going to need him. They're going to need Luka Doncic, obviously. So if they're going to try to go further in the playoffs, if they feel like they're going to do anything in the game, they're going to need Luka Doncic, right? That's clear cut. There's nothing really to even debate in that way, right? So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. This is a crazy situation. And I'm waiting for other trades. I'm waiting to see what's actually going to go down with this team. But there's so much news. There's so much stuff going on Twitter. Actually, I kind of even want to go back and see what people are talking about with this team. All right. So another thing, though, too, is Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant. Right, look at the teammates that Kyrie Irving has played with throughout his career. So Kyrie Irving has now been on teams with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Jason Tatum, and Luka Doncic. Right, so those are pretty prestigious names in my opinion. We know that he went, he requested a trade from the Cavs, and then left the Boston Celtics to join the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant. Obviously, things didn't work out in that way. We don't know what the relationship is like with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. We know that at this point, the business relationship between these two is done data, right? It's over with, done with, finished, finito. How many ways I could say it is not freaking happening, right? It's not happening. Right, so but now Kyrie Irving is playing with Luka Doncic, so we're gonna see what this team is like, man. So another thing now too is NBA on TNT. The Phoenix Suns are prepared to pursue Kevin Durant should he be available. This is per Chris Haynes on Twitter, right? So now that Kyrie Irving is gone, it's pretty much out there. It's pretty much known that Brooklyn Nets are more than likely not going to win a title with this team as much as I would want them to, as much as I would want them to compete. I'm sorry, this Eastern team, these Eastern Conference teams are just battling it out. I think the top of the Eastern Conference is very physical. They got some beasts up there. Boston Celtics are playing phenomenal, right? Milwaukee Bucks, as of this week, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been putting up MVP-like numbers. He had a 50 bomb the other day, and yesterday he just had a triple-double, right? So, and then also third is the 76ers. The only thing stopping the 76ers is really just Embiid managing to stay healthy and staying on the court. But it is the regular season, so we have plenty of time to kind of worry about that. But with Kevin Durant, it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle his situation, because Kevin Durant had came here with the hopes of possibly winning a title for the Brooklyn Nets. With him leaving the Golden State Warriors, he left Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors to come and play with Kyrie Irving, which was a poo-poo move, right? That was like, it was a bad move. Like, let's keep it a stack. Let's keep it 100. This was a bad move on Kevin Durant's part to leave Steph Curry and come with Kyrie Irving, because look what happened. He left empty-handed, right? You look at this situation now, and now Kyrie Irving is gone, requested a trade. And I don't want to go down this route, but I have to keep it honest. I have to keep it a stack here. Just with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, I see, the way I observe, is a pretty selfish human being, right? And that's fine to say, but considering the situation, even when Kyrie had a lot of negative spotlight on him, you can't disagree and say that Kevin Durant was free from all this, with Kyrie Irving. Anything that Kyrie Irving was going through, Kevin Durant's name was always attached or right there next to Kyrie Irving, right? Whenever there was anything going on, Kevin Durant's name was always involved, right? And this is a pretty sad situation to at least not see the Brooklyn Nets at full extent, at full power, being able to compete as they were. Ben Simmons finally came back. He hasn't been playing well this season, but there's still a lot of basketball left to be played in the second half of the season. And so it's going to be interesting to see, how they handle the Kevin Durant situation. In my personal opinion, I felt like the Nets could have, they could have made a better trade, possibly with the Clippers, maybe even the Suns. But I don't think the Nets were willing to give up Chris Paul in exchange for Kyrie Irving, because there's a very good chance Kyrie Irving could leave the Suns if he had been traded to that team. But we know the Phoenix Suns have plenty of trade options. But the Suns have plenty of trade options, trade picks, and they probably, or more than likely, going to be in pursuit for Kevin Durant. But that's entirely up to the Brooklyn Nets to see what they do, because Kevin Durant is under contract with the Brooklyn Nets. So it's up to them whether, they trade him to where and how much they get for him, right? So it's crazy, and to add weight to what I was saying, after Kyrie Irving was traded, Kevin Durant's name was trending on Twitter, right? Look, number one, traded on Twitter. This man can't catch a break, man. So Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving signed together with the Nets in summer ahead of 2019 to 2020 season. In 3+ seasons, while they were both on the Brooklyn roster, they've appeared in just 74 games together, right? 74 games. So in all the games that they played together in 3 seasons, they haven't even played an entire season together, right? Let that sink in. They've only, in a span of 3 seasons, they've only played 74 games together. Man, and as a GM, as an owner, as a player, you can't tell me even as a fan, you can't tell me there isn't some type of frustration with this team. There's always been so many conversations around the Nets. Little of it has been about basketball. And that's really the sad reality. That's the sad truth. This is the reasons like this is why James Harden had left the Brooklyn Nets to begin with, right? And it's not because of Kevin Durant. A lot of people like to blame Kevin Durant and bring up his name in some form of negative spotlight. There are things that you can talk about with Kevin Durant, that you can pinpoint or criticize. But I firmly believe that Kevin Durant just wants to continue playing basketball and be focused, on the goal at hand. So I don't take that away from him. It's really just Kyrie Irving, that's kind of taken away from the game, even though we know he comes, he balls out, he does his thing. But, it feels like there's so many other different things that we talk about that's just not basketball when it comes to Kyrie Irving. And I don't want to sound like no TV analyst or kind of sound the same as they do, but I'm giving the truth. I'm telling the truth. I felt this way even when I felt this way even before, Kyrie Irving had went to the Nets when he was on the Boston Celtics. It just seems like, Kyrie Irving, even though I see him as somewhat of, because he's not a bad guy. Like, let's get this out here. It's not like Kyrie Irving is a bad guy, but he's just not the leader that I think he is, right? It's more so, Kyrie Irving is more so a solo act. And I'm keeping it just ball. I'm just pertaining to this, right? I'm not trying to character attack Kyrie Irving. I'm just trying to give the 100% truth on how I look at it. So there's so much to be going on around here, but let's get more into this though. Please, like and subscribe to the video, man. Show some support. Hit that bell and notification button. I appreciate you guys if you guys tap in, right? So another thing though too. So now we know that there were other players that were in pursuit for Kyrie Irving. Obviously, the Los Angeles Lakers were one of those teams to pop out and be in pursuit for Kyrie Irving. So put respect on Lord Blinken's name. Lord, I don't care about that. Take the blue pill. What is going on? You know what? I'm gonna just give my pointers on this because obviously then the name is just popping up and people are just kind of like, what did Rob Blinken do? This was a huge failure. This was a huge failure on the Lakers and Rob Blinken's part, right? Rob Pelinka had failed to put a championship roster around their two stars, not just LeBron James, who's playing at the age of 38 and playing and clearly playing at some type of prime level. It's clearly not LeBron James prime level, but he's playing at some type of prime level. He's putting up really good numbers, right? Anthony Davis has finally come back. He's been playing well throughout the seasons in the times that he's came back. But fact of the matter is, bottom line is, they did not put together a championship roster. Ever since that year in the championship, after that year, they got rid of everybody. And I ain't never seen nothing like that. That's almost like some last dance shit. You win a championship and then you change your whole team. You change your whole roster. And what of it? Why would you do that? So now it's got to this where they're trying to get rid of Russell Westbrook, trying to improve this team. They just lost yesterday, right? Is a good fit. Are the Kyrie Irving and Luka a good fit together? All right, you know what? I'm gonna take some time to address some comments because I mess with it. But do I think it was a good trade? Honestly, I see it more as a desperate move for the Mavericks. Because if you guys were following the headlines, Dallas Mavericks apparently were desperate to try to find another star along with Luka Doncic. Now, I don't have enough for me to have any conviction, with how I say things, what I see and things like that. But I mean, it's worth a shot. It's worth a try. I mean, honestly, I would get a lot more off-ball players, 3-and-D players. Kyrie Irving does have somewhat of a selfish play style, but he's still really good and he can add on to any team. And as long as he's playing basketball and staying devoted to basketball, I see no other reason to say this was a bad trade. Now, we know that Luka Doncic is very ball dominant and likes to keep the ball in his hands for a long period amount of time and runs the offense through him, right? So, like Kyrie Irving, I mean, we just gonna have to see. I mean, but we know Kyrie Irving can play off ball. He can shoot. He can put the ball in the hole. He has a lot in his bag. So I think they do complement each other. I think they are going to complement each other. I think they are going to find a way to make it work. I mean, if you played alongside Kevin Durant, and there was some good moments with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. It's not like they were playing together and it just didn't work. Even last year, right? It's not that it couldn't work even last year. They just needed some defense. They didn't have the depth last year to go against a team like the Boston Celtics, a team that's been playing well throughout the whole year, throughout the whole course of the year, right? So, bottom line is, do I think they're going to fit together? I think they will. But I don't think it's enough. And that's my point here. I don't think it's enough. Right? So we're going to have to see. Do you let me know? Let me know. Wind in the Willow. Appreciate the comment though, too, by the way. That was a great question. But yeah, man. So going back into the Rob Pelinka situation, and I hope I answered your question the best way I can. But going back into the Rob Pelinka situation with the Lakers, now we're gonna have to see what this team is gonna do. With the trade deadline coming in the near future. The Lakers got to make some moves. They clearly could have gotten after Kyrie Irving in the beginning. My thing about it is the Lakers could have gotten Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris if they had traded, if they had made those picks, or if they had traded those picks or made a move earlier in the season, right? They could have definitely did that. Now you're looking at a situation where you have a team in your own conference has Kyrie Irving, and they're also sixth in the Western Conference, right? So, but I still think there's a lot of upside with this whole Kyrie Irving situation because he still is on the last year of his deal, and that's another thing that you have to factor in too. Wind, right? Wind in the Willow, right? Is Kyrie Irving is on a 1-year deal, right? So the Dallas Mavericks, and why I say it was kind of like a desperate move, because they needed another star, but somebody like Kyrie Irving is a lot to focus on, a lot to gamble on. They've given up a first-round pick, they've given up Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and 2 second-round picks. Now, I don't think they killed them. I don't think it was a bad trade. I honestly think it was a fair trade, considering what the Nets have received and what the Dallas Mavericks could potentially be with Kyrie Irving. Now, that's where you run the risk, because you don't know if Kyrie Irving is going to leave the Dallas Mavericks at the end of the day to go to the Lakers, right? So I think that's really something to consider here, and something we have to think hard and long about, because we don't know what Kyrie Irving is going to do. We don't know what he's gonna be, or where he's gonna be next season. For all we know, he can try to ball out. He can do whatever he can. He can be playing the best basketball he can with the Dallas Mavericks, and then you don't know. Still goes to the Lakers or even the Clippers if they're convincing enough, right? So, fact of the matter is, and I think I wanted to bring this up though too, because I have this on Facebook. Let me see. I wanted to bring up some saved articles here. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Right. So this is one of the reasons why, I think the trade wasn't going to really work out, or at least, with the trade wasn't really going to work out with the Lakers. Apparently, with the Lakers and trying to acquire Kyrie Irving from the Nets, apparently it wasn't a bad deal, but they weren't, obviously they felt like the Mavericks had a better offer. Probably even the Clippers, even the Clippers, wouldn't blame me to see, because from the beginning, I didn't think the Lakers were going to be able to trade for him, simply for the reason the 2 picks just wasn't enough. That's just how I see it. At least with the Nets, with Kevin Durant, you still have a good team. You can still compete with Kevin Durant, and you want some significant pieces to put around him. I think the Brooklyn Nets wanted to still put pieces around Kevin Durant, right? Which is why I think they wanted players more so over picks. Right, but the Dallas Mavericks clearly gave the best offer, and I think this is something we got to bring up too. So the report is there was pessimism, surrounding a potential Kyrie Irving Laker trade due to Irving wanting a 4-year deal and Lakers preferring a 2-year contract that matches with LeBron James' deal. Right. So we obviously, it hasn't gotten to that point. We just know that Kyrie Irving wanted a long-term deal. More than likely, it was going to be a 4-year deal, and the Lakers were going to give him a 2-year deal, basically. So if LeBron was to finish up his contract, Kyrie Irving would more than likely end his contract alongside LeBron James. And we all know why. Right? Why the Lakers wanted interest, or had interest, in Kyrie Irving. They simply wanted him because of LeBron James. Right? That's bottom line. Right? This is what it is. This is the reality of it. Right? So at that point, the Lakers really just had to capitalize on the situation. They had to make a move. They had to do something in order to obtain Kyrie Irving. Right? But it simply just wasn't enough. Right, that trade with Russell Westbrook killed them. They don't have no picks. They gave up some good pieces and some players away to the Washington Wizards. Now, thinking back on it, looking at it, you could have given up Kuzma. You could have given up Condavious Caldwell-Pope, and you still could have given those picks up for Kyrie Irving. But now, you're in a completely different situation. And so we're gonna have to see what the Lakers are really gonna do. We're gonna see what this team is made of, and what are they gonna do by the time the trade deadline comes around. In my opinion, I feel like they need, it's not even an opinion at this point. It's straight fact that they need shooters, right? I think they need some 3-and-D players, and they need to defend on a consistent basis. Kyrie Irving obviously complements the offensive side of the ball for the Lakers, so he's definitely going to bring some shooting, but I think that doesn't really answer for the defensive part of the ball, right? But Patrick Beverley is still there. We know he's not exactly the defensive player of the year, but he's still, a defensive presence, right? Which would still add on to it. And, the Lakers do have some young players who are able to knock down some shots, but on a consistent basis, to be out on the floor, maybe 20-30 minutes in a game, maybe 20-25 minutes a game. I think that's yet to be seen as far as, how this Laker roster goes, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how this team goes about it. And I'm not gonna lie, man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. This is, like I said, this is why I can't wait, for the trade deadline, because there's always so many things going on. There is. I'm excited to see, what's the next trade going to be looking like. So let me get into this the Athletic article. See what the word is about. So Nets trading Kyrie Irving to the to the Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, draft pick sources. The Brooklyn Nets are trading Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, first round and multiple second round picks, league sources told The Athletic on Sunday. Here's what you need to know. The Mavericks are sending 2029 unprotected first round pick, a 2027 second round, and a 2029 second round pick to the Nets. Brooklyn also is sending Markieff Morris to the Dallas Mavericks, per sources. The move comes 2 days after Irving requested a trade from the Nets. Here's the backstory. The Nets were informed that Irving preferred to leave Brooklyn ahead of the February 9th trade deadline, or he would leave via free agency in July. The Athletic reported Friday the team recently offered Irving an extension with guaranteed stimulations. According to leak sources, an offer that was declined. Leak sources said the extension offer was not well received and significant differences had emerged between Nets and Irving. The Los Angeles Lakers, Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Clippers, along the Dallas Mavericks emerged as initial suitors for Irving, per leak sources. Irving earned his 8th career All-Star nod last month, averaging 27.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 5.3 assists per game this season. His 4th year in Brooklyn was I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. Irving was suspended in November due to his promotion of an anti-Semitic documentary, and was required to complete a list of 6 action items to return to the team. Earlier that month, the Nets parted ways with coach Steve Nash after a 2-5 start. The Nets have gone 30-15 under Nash's replacement, Jacques Vaughn, while the Mavericks are 28-26. The end of the Nets era. Thus ends Kevin Durant and Irving era. It was marred by shoulder injuries, vaccine mandates, and just one playoff series win. Dinwiddie would have given the Nets stability had he never left in free agency. Now he gets the look he deserved as a franchise point guard. What Dinwiddie brings to Brooklyn. Right. I'm talking to those around the league, and the Nets got a great return for Irving. Dinwiddie returns to Brooklyn and gives the Nets a family face who has played with multiple players on the roster. This should help the Nets be competitive in the playoffs. Mavericks go all in. Dallas is making a high-risk, high-reward wager with enormous repercussions for the team's future. It's obvious why the team wants a player like Irving, a true second star next to Luka Doncic, and who instantly becomes the most talented teammate that the young superstar has ever played with. But by giving up 2 starters and a 2029 first-round pick, the team is betting big on the idea that they can re-sign Irving this summer at a deal that suits both parties. That's just the first question about Irving, a player whose relationship sour with every franchise he's played for, and only played 143 games over the past 4 seasons. A major reason why Mavericks made this trade was because of Irving's long-standing relationship with general manager Nico Harrison and coach Jason Kidd. It was inevitable that the team would make a major move to restructure this Doncic-led roster, and Irving's availability made it happen sooner than expected. But by trading away Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith, and by conceding a future first rounder, the team has limited their avenues. It has to continue building this roster. That's how trades for stars like Irving work, of course, but it's still worth noting that this is an enormous all-in decision from the team's front office, right? What will the new Mavs look like on the court? Dallas Mavericks fell to an 0-7 without Doncic on Saturday, and the team's inability to replicate his offensive genius anytime he sits has been an enormous failure this season. It's obvious that Irving, in the midst of one of the best seasons of his career, will help bolster the team on that end. It's also worth noting that Irving enjoyed the most success of his career alongside LeBron James. and that Doncic's ball dominant style is most closely comparable to James in his prime. But another problem this season has been the Mavericks defense, and the inclusion of Finney-Smith only creates more questions on that end. It's not surprising that the team moved quickly to complete this trade. The team sources indicate that the Mavericks will continue exploring more moves in the coming days prior to Thursday's trade deadline. Right? Woo! Man, that is a lot. So, no, it's interesting. It's interesting. Definitely, it was a very ambitious move for the Mavericks to really go at it about this way. Very ambitious. Very, very ambitious, man. Let's tap in. Let's see some other things. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, this is leading headlines. Mark Cuban. What's Mark Cuban gotta say? So here's how the team has looked without Luka Doncic on the court. So they're 0-7, right? Which I've read earlier. They're 30th in defense, 30th in field goal percentage, 30th in three-point percentage, 30th in net rating, and 28th in offense. And they even had the nerve to to tag Mark Cuban in this. Let him know, like, hey man, you guys are in a bad spot, man. So they got some help. Lakers fans, we're getting Kyrie, Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban dealing with Kyrie in his post. Man. Okay. Let me see what else. Let's see what else is going on here. The Nets. I think I've reported this also. I think I've talked about this also, right? Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden have now requested trades from the Brooklyn Nets in the past 13 months. That just goes to show this sums up, the Brooklyn Nets failures, in the past, right? Their inability to keep stars. At the end of the day, bottom line is, man, even though you can't entirely put this on the shoulders, you can't really entirely put this on the shoulders of the Nets. There's a lot that factors into it. But come on, man. For me, I still would have given him the contract. I would have just given, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I would have given, Kyrie Irving a contract that would have kind of been the same as Kevin Durant. Now, I'm not talking about the money necessarily. I'm not going to speak on that, but I would at least try to match the years, right? I would be like, hey, only way I see you staying here is with Kevin Durant, right? So we're going to have to match deals, and then we could still, we can offset that with the money being compensated. Because bottom line is, though, Kyrie Irving does deserve the money. It's really just a question of his commitment and whether he's going to follow through after he gets that money. That's always been a big issue. That's always been the problem, right? Is Kyrie Irving going to commit, right? You had Harden leave. You had Kevin Durant request a trade. And then so what is it going to be now? And then going back to that article that I just read off with The Athletic, this was a huge risk. This was a huge risk for the Mavericks because, like I said, we don't know what goes on in Kyrie Irving's mind. We don't know what he's going to do. So, the Dallas Mavericks ran a big risk, trading him and also trading away some of their defense with Dorian Finney-Smith, right? And giving up somebody like Spencer Dinwiddie, who was a valuable player in that Dallas Mavericks franchise. Clearly, I mean, Kyrie Irving is a better player than Spencer Dinwiddie, but at least you knew that he was going to be there. It's easier to convince him to stay in Dallas than it is to kind of convince Kyrie Irving to stay with the Mavericks, right? So hopefully, right, for the Mavericks' sake, that they can be convincing enough to keep Kyrie Irving and have him stay. Bottom line is, they're gonna have to give Kyrie Irving the bag. They're gonna have to give him whatever, because you already traded up. You already traded your assets away, so you have no choice but to sign Kyrie Irving. You have no choice but to get Kyrie Irving, on a max deal. My thing is, are the Mavericks crazy enough to offer that deal? And let's just say if they don't, which team is willing to do it? And I think that's a big factor. I think that's a big thing to kind of take away from this situation. Which team will give him that max deal? We know that the Dallas Mavericks have no choice but to give him that max deal at this point. They have to. They already have him. They traded for him. So they gotta do it. They have to offer Kyrie Irving the max contract. Right? I'm gonna even pin this comment here because I want people to kind of answer this question: if Kyrie Irving and Luka are a good fit together. Right? Now, I don't think it's a bad trade. I think it's a good trade. I think they will fit together. It's just a matter of, will it work out in a business sense? We got to think about personalities involved. And I think Luka is pretty independent in his own right. I don't think he's not really a guy that kind of like, this is just me making opinions and just coming off things at the top of my head. But, I don't think Luka Doncic is involves himself with the headlines and gets himself in all the other business, like Kevin Durant. We know Kevin Durant, loves playing basketball, and he'll argue to the grave. He'll argue with a bum on the street about basketball. If a bum told Kevin Durant, you ain't shit, he'll argue with that motherfucker. Right? But Luka Doncic don't be getting himself in no BS. And I think having Luka Doncic by his side will probably be somewhat of a good influence, seeing this guy ball and doing his thing. With that being said, Kevin Durant is a baller, but he hasn't been balling like the way Luka Doncic has been in these past couple seasons, right? And Luka Doncic has been by far top 3 best players in the league right now, statistically, at the individual level, right? Some may even say he's been playing like the best player in the league. I would object, right? I think your team has to match your play on the field. But I think, with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, I think they're going to work out together. I think it's going to look good, especially, when they come out guns blazing. It's really just a matter of when Luka Doncic is going to come back. And let's tap into that. Let's see when he comes back. I think that's another thing we should kind of look at here. When does Luka Doncic come back? Let's see. Injury report. Okay, so apparently he has a heel injury. Let's tap into it. All right, so Luka Doncic injury update. Mavericks start out versus Warriors on Saturday, but heel issue not severe. All right, so if you guys were watching the game, I believe they were playing against the Detroit Pistons that game, and then he was going up for like a layup, and then he fell, bad on his heel, or he fell on his glute, but his like I think his leg, it was his leg or his ankle, his heel area where there's a contusion. So Luka Doncic had an MRI Friday morning to determine the severity of a heel contusion he suffered during the Dallas Mavericks 111-106 win against the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday night. The imaging revealed that the heel contusion is not severe, per Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd, but he has been ruled out for Saturday's game against the Golden State Warriors. Doncic didn't practice on Friday, and he won't travel with the team to San Francisco as it begins a 5-game road trip that features games against the Warriors, Jazz, Clippers, and back-to-back matchups with the Kings. While Doncic isn't expected to play Saturday, he hasn't been ruled out for the rest of the road trip. While talking to reporters after practice, Mavericks forward Dorian Finney-Smith alluded to Doncic not playing at the start of the road trip, saying, "We've got to figure it out. Hopefully we might get Christian Wood back. That'd be a nice piece to add without Luka playing." Wood, who has been out for 7 games with a fractured thumb, scrimmaged at practice on Friday and is inching closer to a return, but he isn't expected to play Saturday. Doncic sustained a heel contusion in the third quarter of the Thursday's night game and it was the Pelicans too, so I was wrong. It wasn't the Detroit Pistons, it was the Pelicans. So I just wanted to put that out there, make sure I'm not giving wrong shit. Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram collided with New Orleans big man Jonas Valanciunas as Doncic fell. He landed right on his right foot very bluntly and began grabbing the back of his ankle immediately as he stood up. He tried to stay in for a couple of possessions, but then signaled to Kidd on the bench to take him out of the game. Doncic walked straight to the locker room and was then ruled out for the remainder of the game. And then we can even play the videos to show you guys what broke down.
They're trying to play a zone now.
That's the second three-point play of the quarter.
Oh.
You want to talk about
right,
a lot of gasping in this building.
You can feel it.
I don't want this to get demonetized. Yeah, man, let me know. Let me know, guys. What do you guys think about this trade? What do you guys think about this trade? Do you guys like it? Do you think it's worth it?
There is
do you guys think Kyrie Irving requesting a trade from the Brooklyn Nets? Do you guys agree with it? Do you not? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Because I'm putting up posts on YouTube. I'm getting into it. I've been talking about it. I talked about Kevin Durant. I talked about Kyrie. I talked about Luka. I talked about the Mavs. I talked about the Lakers. Right? What is going on? What is going on here? This is wild. This is wild for real. Kyrie Irving on his fourth team. You know what? Let's even look how Kyrie Irving has been playing this year, thus far. Right? Let's tap into that. Right? So let's bring this up. Right, so Kyrie Irving this year, averaging 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Right, been playing really good basketball this year. Right, and the sad thing about it is, Kyrie Irving has been on his best behavior this year, or not this year, past 2 months. Belay my last on that one. Kyrie Irving has been on his best behavior, for the past 2 months. But it was like Kyrie Irving was itching to rile some shit up. It's like he couldn't help himself to start talking. Had to be back in the headlines for something. Now I understand Kyrie Irving's situation. He wanted to get paid. I'm not gonna say he shouldn't. I definitely think Kyrie Irving deserves to be paid. It's really just a matter of years. I try to be as unbiased as possible. I try to look at both angles here, right? I try to look at this situation in different ways, right? I don't just try to look at it from the player's aspect. I also try to look at it from the GM's aspect on whether the Nets should have did what they did and being hesitant to offer Kyrie Irving a contract, right? With that being said, Kyrie Irving was playing well without Kevin Durant. And he at least that's what the headlines were saying, is that he was willing to stay long term and he wanted a long term deal. But we've heard numerous things. We've heard that the Nets wanted him to win a championship in order for them to offer him a long term deal, and especially with things that were going on previously with the vaccine, the documentary that he shared, the post, and things that he said, and even the situation with Steve Nash and whether he said they didn't need a coach and this and that, right? We know that the Nets were freaking sick of Kyrie Irving. They were sick and tired of this man. They did not want to, they were tired of the headlines, right? But what other choice do you have? Yes, you've traded him now, but how is that going to look for the Nets? And I didn't cover that though too, right? Is how the Nets are going to be looking now, right? How are the Nets going to be moving forward, right? Are they going to still try to trade Kevin Durant? Are they still going to we don't know. See, I'm over here trying to guess. I'm trying to figure out because I have no idea, right? But let's look at this Nets roster, this new Nets roster, right? So this is the new Nets roster: Kevin Durant, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Ben Simmons, Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton, Seth Curry, Utah with Tanabe, TJ Warren, and Joe Harris, right? I don't think it's a bad team, though. I don't think it's a bad team. I think it's a decent enough team. I think it's a good enough team. But obviously, the main factor in this, the biggest X factor in this, is clearly Ben Simmons, right? Ben Simmons just needs to do some. He needs to be some type of aggression. He needs to show some type of aggression. He needs to show some type of, I want it, I'm gonna get it type attitude, right? And that's what the thing about this whole Nets situation. I really wish James Harden would have still stayed on the Nets. This team still would have looked dangerous with Kevin Durant and James Harden going back and forth. Honestly, they should have traded Kyrie Irving and still tried to keep James Harden. But realistically, man, it just wasn't. It didn't come to that, right? But Nick Claxton is having a career year, playing phenomenal, being one of the best defensive players in the league, and also leading the league in field goal percentage, right? Spencer Dinwiddie, good player, right? Model player. He's been on the Nets before, has played for the Nets before, right? So we're gonna see some things going down here, man. We are going to see what's going down with the Nets, right? I've been talking about the Mavericks, but they got a new squad too. They have a new face too, right? Let's look into some other things though. KD and Kyrie. Oh. Wow, I did not know about this. I did not know. So check this out. So it turns out that the Nets, the biggest winner of the Kyrie Irving trade, is not the Dallas Mavericks. It's for damn sure not the Brooklyn Nets. So the Houston Rockets, oh yeah, because they traded James Harden and gave away their picks. So the Houston Rockets could swap the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have 5 of their picks, but the only ones that they own are 24 and 26. right? But they have the right. Brooklyn Nets still own the 2023, 2025, and 2027 first round picks. But the Houston has the right to swap if they want to. But we already know, man, the Houston Rockets got plenty of trade picks, man. Draft picks. Sorry. Wait, what? Once you come to a basketball game in the EuroLeague, I guarantee you that in terms of cheering, you will not experience such a thrill. Fans jumping, lighting smoke, flares, and firecrackers, cursing. Hey, I don't doubt it. You know, Luka Doncic, coming from his mouth, I think he said the EuroLeague is somewhat harder than the NBA, and I think a large part of that is, you know, I think they don't have the 3 in the key penalty. So, thanks for commenting, though. All right, what else? What else is going down here? No more news. All right, let me just bring this up one more time for you guys, so you guys can see the trade details on what went down. Dallas Mavericks once again receives Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris, and the Brooklyn Nets receive Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, 2029 first round pick, and 2027 and 2029 first round pick. Right, so at least they got that 2029 first round pick. 2027. Okay, so yeah, man. So the Nets are deep. They're deep in the ish. You know, because they don't really have no picks like that. Right? What else? Kyrie Irving played 143 of a possible 278 regular season game. During his Brooklyn Nets tenure, barely half. KD and Kyrie played in 74 of a possible 206 games after KD returned from his Achilles injury. Kyrie, Harden played 10 games. KD, Kyrie, and Simmons played 24. What can I say? Availability is the best ability. And sorry to say, but KD, Kyrie, and James, and you know, those are injury prone. Those are injury prone stars, right? That's why I never really try to draft KD in my fantasy, because I know he's gonna be out at some point. Look what else is also trending. Fire Rob Pelinka. I'm a Bucks fan until Rob Pelinka gets fired. This is unacceptable. You have a 38-year-old LeBron James still playing at a high level, trying to compete for a title, and you can't make it happen. LeBron clearly won Kyrie and made it known. We've been robbed. I speak for all Lakers fans when I say fire Rob Pelinka. Right? Oh man, people are gunning for his head. Man, they even have the young thug meme. Fire Rob Pelinka now. Ooh, man, catching some fire. Oh man. This is looking tough. It's looking tough for Rob Pelinka. The Lakers are not interested in including Austin Reeves and Max Christie in a potential Kyrie Irving. No freaking way. How legit is this? Fire Rob Pelinka, that fucking bum of a GM, you loser. Yo, the savagery. The savagery. Man. Oh man. It's hard out here, man. I gotta see how legit this is. Okay, Lakers reporter. Gotta follow that. No, man, this can't be it. This can't be the reason why they didn't want to do it, though. I gotta see it for myself. I gotta see it for myself. I mean, they tagged him though. I'm just trying to find where he said it. All right, so that just happened. So I'm gonna keep going down. No, can't find it. So I'm not gonna pass it on. I'm not gonna pass it on as real information until I see it. But if this is true though, featured on ESPN, Fox Sports. Okay. All right. You can follow that though too. Just so I can stay up to date. But yeah, man, if this is true, I gotta agree. Man. If this is what stopped Rob Pelinka for trading for Kyrie Irving, look, man, here's my thing. As a GM, your job is to get the best players to put this team in the position to win, right? Now, I understand, the speculation that surrounds Kyrie Irving and what he does off the court, but people need to stop putting out these narratives like Kyrie Irving is such a bad guy, because he's not. He's not a bad guy. And fact of the matter is, getting Kyrie Irving to the Lakers, right? Knowing he wanted to come here, knowing he wanted to stay. He even got a house out here, right? And you were hesitant to trade away Austin Reeves and Max Chrissy? Let me know, man. Let me know. How do you guys feel about this? Because this is freaking ludicrous. This is outrageous right here. This is outrageous. But more to see. Because you already know the Lakers are going to be talking about this. Laker Nation is going to be talking about this for a long time. Right? The Nets Mavericks talks accelerated on a trade today. Sources, the Lakers and Nets have had several conversations on a potential deal, but Nets preferred Mavericks package, getting back a point guard and a wing to plug in now, plus future picks. Right? And that's why I said if I were the Nets, I wasn't convinced. Even though it was a preference, if I had to look at it logically, I did not think the Lakers had enough to trade for Kyrie Irving in compared to what other teams could have offered. If Kyrie Irving had played, and let's just put it out in theory, right? Let's put it in theory. If Kyrie Irving, right, was to play most of the games that he, in his career, if he were to play most of the games in his career and putting up the stats that he has, do you think? I'm gonna ask you, my guy, but hold on a sec. Do you think that Lakers would have enough to trade for Kyrie Irving? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Their best chance was getting him in free agency, right? But I'm gonna add my guy here, so now we can have a legitimate debate instead of me going back and forth with myself here, right? So, yo, Josh, what's up, bro?
Hey man, what's good, Pat? Good to be here, bro. Good to be here.
Hey, man, appreciate you coming on. I didn't expect anybody to pop up.
Hey, he's not alone here.
Huh?
All the mans are here.
Oh, you in Canada? I forgot, bro.
Yeah, we're together right now.
Nah, you good. Hey, let's talk about this stuff, man. What do you got think?
First of all,
What's up? Hey, you cutting off, man. I need good audio. Y'all keep messing with me, man. I need good audio.
yeah, my bad. Pancakes turned off for some reason. So first I have to point out the fact how I don't see tears in your eyes yet. So, which I should. Well, taking the first L after all this, like analyzing all that. Oh,
bro. First off, all right. If you want to talk fantasy, you want me to break it down for you. First off, it's my first L, right? So I'm not worried about it. I'm not, bro. This is if you would have lost. Think about it. You were gonna be 500. I get a first L. I'm still in the 90th percentile of the standings. So I'm guaranteed to get in the playoffs, bro.
And so am I, because I'm on the top.
No, you're not.
My contract.
Ty's still ahead of you.
I mean, we have the same record, so
don't matter, bro. He beat you, so the standings put him above you. That's how it works.
All right.
So, hey, man, you got it. You have this win. Trust me. I looked at my matchup and I was like, you know what? It's more than likely I'm probably not gonna beat him. But hey, stay humble, my friend, because you still have. And you know what? I'll even say that you have a very good chance of winning these next 2 weeks. But
yeah, that's the thing, because all my matchups after are easy. Like pretty much until the end, I only have Wilt, who might be somewhat tough, but that's it. I've got Ricky, I've got Billionaires Buddies, and Zach, who all three of them don't even probably play the thing.
But he beat you though. Zach beat you.
Well, you
gave Zach his first L. I mean, his first win. So, and my thing about it is though too, even if we're talking about fantasy, right? You like your team played well yesterday. Like that was the best day you had out of the whole week.
Okay.
So, and that's what gave it to you, bro.
No, but you see, another thing is that it all comes down to the basketball knowledge, because when you look at the player summary, you could see that all my players are spread out. Yours is very top heavy. You have like Jokic and Dame, who put up like over 200 points, which is more than any of mine. But then when you look down, it all drops after those like top players. Mine is very spread out and shows.
Bro, but think about it. First off, what do you mean your basketball knowledge, bro? I was ahead of you the whole week. And
hey, it's not about who's ahead of the week. It's ahead of who's in the end of the week.
What you're saying, because I'm arguing against what you're saying. You saying, right, it's very top heavy. But I stayed ahead of you the whole week using acquisitions, right? Where I went wrong, right? Some of my matchup acquisitions didn't key off. They flopped, right? And not to mention, I did have some injuries. I've still had Cat out for the majority of basically this whole season, right? So, I mean, with that being said, bro, I mean, it was gonna catch up to me, bro. Like, I've been dealing with injuries all season, so it just finally caught up.
I'll just point out one fact that I do have Smart injured. I had Tyrese injured for half a week, and you got extremely lucky on the first day when 3 of my players that were supposed to play got injured.
But I wasn't using that as an excuse initially, bro. Like, remember, I was ahead of you literally the whole week with using matchup acquisitions. It was only till yesterday, and you make it seem like your guys didn't have a great game, bro. Like, you had a great day yesterday. Like, you have to factor that in. Like, you had Jalen Brunson drop 40. You had fucking Aiden have 65 points.
Jamal Murray.
Bridges, you had Jamal Murray drop 40. So on a normal basis, right? Because obviously none of them averaged 40. So you had a good day yesterday, bro. That's what it is. You had a great day yesterday.
See, now this guy tries to turn my knowledge into pure luck. When as a matter of fact, it's pure knowledge, pure analytics, pure. Because I knew they'd go off.
What did you? Your team went off. Your team.
Look at my matchup acquisitions. I pretty much used all of them too.
You used them yesterday, bro. You used them yesterday to fill up your roster today. Is this what you came on for? To boast about my first loss?
You know what? First, I'll save it for later. Let's get back to the topic. All right, so Mavs are looking good now, not gonna lie. Josh?
Yo, I don't want to overreact, but the Mavericks are the best team in the West. They have the best backcourt by far. It's not even close. At this point, no other backcourt can even touch Luka and Kyrie. And when I think of teams built for the playoffs, the Mavericks are really built for the playoffs. Kyrie and Luka have been known for stepping up their game in the playoffs, which I know you like, Pat, because you're all about stepping up in the playoffs. And I think you'll admit that those two have a very good track record when it comes to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're surrounded by shooters. The only thing I'm worried about is defense. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, defense is overrated in basketball. To beat the Mavericks, you're going to have to outscore them. That's the game of basketball. It's a very simple game. Who can put more points in the basket? And I don't know if a team's putting more points in the basket than the Mavericks are. In the West, anyways.
I mean, the same could be said about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Yeah, I mean, to be honest. I don't see it. Oh, shit. I got the title wrong, man. Hey, thank you, Sports Hunk. I'm over here looking like a fool. Appreciate that. I got the title wrong. You guys can continue to talk.
Yeah, man. So, as I was saying, when I heard about the Kyrie trade rumors, I was actually rooting for him to go on the Mavericks too, because I think it's the best fit in the NBA. I think Kyrie Irving at this point in his career can play off the ball really, really well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The issue is the thing with Kyrie and Luka Doncic is you need to send a double team or it's over. You're talking about guys with basically infinite range. Mm-hmm. Kyrie's a much, much better shooter than Luka is, but Luka is still a good shooter. Mm-hmm. They have infinite range, and you have to send a double team. So if you have two guys on your team where you need to send a double team, or like you're losing, Kyrie and Luka are those two guys, bro. Kyrie's got too much sauce, bro, in his arsenal. When you combine that much sauce with Luka's playmaking too, and like Kyrie and Luka can playmake one another. Luka's never had a playmaker like Kyrie, and Kyrie's never had a playmaker like Luka. Actually, that's a lie. Kyrie has had many playmakers like Luka. You look at LeBron, you look at Harden, but you see how Kyrie played with LeBron and with Harden. He's very good off the ball, and I think it's a perfect fit, man. And not to mention, the Mavericks didn't even give up that much. They give up their 2029 first-round pick. And, whoever that is just got home from school, just got home from middle school. So 2029 is far away. And yeah, man, I really like this trade. I think the Mavericks are top of the West now. No one wants to see the Mavericks now, man.
Nah, I mean, to say that they're the best team in the West, though, I mean, I still think that's tough to say, because for one, they're still in the sixth. They're in the sixth seed, and I think the Nuggets are still a really good team. Seeing how I think they can still work better defensively, but they're middle of the pack. I mean, being an average defensive team is still good enough. at least in the NBA. But I mean, you can't downplay defense, especially when it comes to playoff basketball, right? Because defense matters, especially when you're going against other great players, right? You have to be able to lock down. And so I think the losing Dorian Finney-Smith was a negative was a loss in their end, a small loss in their end. But then also, they've given up their draft picks, right? So second round picks, I mean, they didn't. It doesn't hold too much weight. But the problem is, you have to be, for one, it's high risk, high reward. Bringing in Kyrie Irving, you have to think in this way, where you've obtained Kyrie Irving simply for the fact that you're trying to go to a championship, you're trying to go far with Kyrie Irving, because the Mavericks went to the Western Conference Finals last year. So the only way you can improve off last year is going to a finals. So are you saying that the Dallas Mavericks are going to the finals because they have Kyrie Irving?
I mean, you just said it, Pat. They went to the conference finals last year without Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
So Spencer Dinwiddie, he's a nice player, but he's very replaceable in the modern NBA. There's about 20 players I can name off the top of my head that you can easily sign in free agency that can do more or less what Spencer Dinwiddie does. The fact that they went to the conference finals last year and now they just basically add Kyrie Irving without giving up nothing, that's pretty good evidence right there, man.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's good evidence, but I don't think it's enough. If I'm keeping it in a stack with you, bro, I don't think it's enough. Like, I think I mean, we've yet to see it. We've yet to see, what this team can actually look like, because, this had just occurred today. I think it could work, because Kyrie Irving can play off ball. It's similar to how Luka is when LeBron was playing with in his prime with LeBron James. So it's somewhat similar. Luka Doncic is ball dominant, ball heavy, and Kyrie Irving can obviously do his thing. But I mean, I don't think it's too far fetched to say they still have some competition in the West. But I think it's out in the open. I think it's definitely the conversation to be had about who's going to take the West. I think that conversation is not cemented yet. Obviously, the Nuggets are in the forefront. They're in a position to take it away as of right now. But the second half of the season is still occurring. The trade deadline isn't here until, I believe, Thursday, right? So I think we're just gonna have to see, man. We're just gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what this team is made of. How they're gonna look, how is it gonna work? Because them without Luka Doncic is, fact of the matter is they need Luka Doncic to be on the floor. It's not gonna work without Luka, and he's been out recently too.
Hey Pat, one more thing, my guy. You compare the Mavs to the Nuggets. The way I see it,
I'm not
Luka Doncic.
I'm just saying that. I'm just only bringing them up because they're at the top right now.
Yeah, but Luka Doncic being the number one option is better than Jokic as a number one option, and Kyrie Irving's number two option is by far better than Murray as a number two option.
But that's when it comes down to the rest of the team. First of all, absolutely ridiculous first take with regard to Luka and Jokic. One's a double MVP, another is a flop in MVP race. Second of all, like, it comes down to the rest of the team. You've got
in the NBA, the team with the best players usually wins. Most times, the team with the best players usually wins. Superstar. The NBA is a league for superstars, bro.
Right, and what happened with Kyrie last season when he had KD? Kyrie and KD top players.
You know what happened.
Exactly. So what you're saying is false. Absolutely bullshit.
It's not false. The team with the best players usually wins, man. And the only reason why the Nets are an exception, bro, because the Nets, their whole season last year was dramatic, bro. With Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving with the vaccine situation. We know that Nets team is better than what we saw last year in the playoffs, man. But like I'm saying, man, I can admit when, I'm not confident, right? Like, it's one thing to say, oh, the Nets could be good. I mean, no, the Mavericks. It's one thing to say the Mavericks could be good. It's another thing to say the Mavericks are going to be good. I've seen enough of Luka Doncic. I've seen enough of Kyrie Irving. The Mavericks are the best team in the West, man. And I'm very, very confident in saying that. And I don't think Pat, what do you think, man? You think I'm exaggerating a little bit, man? You think that's that crazy to say that the Mavericks are the best team in the world? I don't think it's that crazy to say.
I don't think it's crazy to say. I think it's a bit of an exaggeration though. Because first off, man, they're how would you classify a team being the best team in the West? Right? Are you saying stylistically, like playing style? Are you speaking from record? Are you speaking from
I think that they're going to represent the Western Conference in the finals.
Okay. So right now, and I brought this up earlier, is that the Nets, or the Mavericks, sorry, are the 6th seed in the West right now. Right? So
without Kyrie,
right? And then, so with that being said, Devin Booker is also going to be coming back, right? The Suns have been on and off. They went down, but they've won some key games. They won 2 straight games as recently without Devin Booker, right? And then now you have the Clippers also coming into fruition, playing well here and there. Even though they've lost some big games, they had that 20-point flop against the Bucks. But with that being said, they're still a healthy roster and they're still a really good team and the preseason favorite to represent the West, right? And that's also something we got to consider though too, is the Clippers, right? And not just the Nuggets, the Clippers, Grizzlies also. Right, I'm not too high on the Kings just yet, even though a lot of people are talking about them and they're in a position to be in the playoffs in so long. Right, but my best estimation is that they can be anywhere between the 6th seed and the 3rd seed at best. But it entirely depends on if they're able to make a run and how many games they can win in a stretch. So right now, they're going on a road trip, right? They're going to be on a road trip. So it's going to be a tough one, right? And then if I had to go back into what I just popped up right now, Kyrie Irving is expected to arrive for a physical on Monday, which is tomorrow, in Dallas to travel and make his Mavericks debut versus the Los Angeles Clippers on Wednesday, right? And it's crazy. I guessed that too. So I said more than likely he's going to be able to make his debut on Wednesday. So we're going to see. We're going to see, man. We're going to see what it's about. So what do you say about that? What do you say for them to be landing between the 3rd and the 6th? But I don't see them being 6. I see them probably being between 5 and 3. Now, if they're really kicking, if they really have things going, then I say the best scenario is 2. They can be the 2nd seed. But even going against a team like the Grizzlies, a fully healthy Grizzlies team, I think would still be tough to go against. Because I don't think it comes down necessarily to the best players. Sometimes the best players, right, need the best teams in order for them to move forward. And best team doesn't necessarily mean your personnel, but it's about how you play together. And I can't poo-poo this, but the Nuggets are playing the best basketball in the West right now. So it's not just about, comparing player for player, but it's also about, how they mesh, how some pieces fit with other players, how players fit with other players. You said, okay, Kyrie Irving is better than Jamal Murray, but Jamal Murray, he's playing well as of recently. And it's not like I'm looking at Kyrie Irving to be locking down or shutting down Jamal Murray on the defensive end of the ball, right? And then we've talked about the Dallas Mavericks giving up a piece on the defensive end. So that's something to worry about there. But you know what? The trade deadline is still occurring. So we can probably assume that Dallas Mavericks are probably going to make maybe another move or two to complement that side of the ball. So we're gonna have to see. But this is why I always tell y'all, man. This is why I always say we have to wait till the trade deadline, because you never know how these teams are gonna look. You never know how these teams are gonna look, man.
I agree. Like, this guy just hops on this train. Like, I don't know what to compare it to. You see, yo hyping something that just isn't going to work out. They've got, like, they're good on the offensive side, but as you brought out before, what about defense? Who's going to stop Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid? They got no answer for that. Absolutely no one.
Bro, you can have a team with Gary Payton, Kawhi Leonard, Scottie Pippen, Ben Wallace, and Chris Bosh, bro. You're not stopping Kyrie and Luka Doncic. What it comes down to is Artem's Kyrie.
Hold on. What did you say? What players did you just say?
You can have a team with Gary Payton, Scottie Pippen, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Bosh, and Ben Wallace, and you are not stopping a team with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic on it. There's certain players offensively that can't be stopped, and what it comes down to is the Nuggets are not going to outscore the Dallas Mavericks. The Nuggets are not going to put the ball in the basket more time than the Dallas Mavericks, because Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are elite at putting the ball in the basket. And this is just what I think it is, man. I think the reason why, like, you know, you and Artem are ready to say that the Mavericks are the best team in the West, it goes back to one of my biggest issues with you, and it's the Kyrie Irving hate. You won't give Kyrie Irving his flowers because you're a LeBron fan, and as a LeBron fan, you want to discredit everything Kyrie Irving does. I'm putting you on a spot like that, Pat, because Kyrie Irving is top 15. Kyrie Irving is top 15, and if you say otherwise, you're just a hater. So the fact that you have two top 15 players on the same team at the same time together, like, that's a recipe for success, man. Jamal Murray, as much as I love him, he's from Kitchener, Ontario.
No, it's not. No, it's not a recipe for
Jamal
success.
Murray is not 25.
First off, let me say this. When I critique Kyrie Irving, right? It's not because I don't say he's not a top 15 player. He's not. I don't think of him in that regard. I don't go against that. I don't go against that grain. My thing with Kyrie Irving, first off, is him being present, playing basketball, right, bro? In a span of over 200 games with Kevin Durant, they've only played 74 games together, right? That is nothing compared to how many games they could have played together, right? And so, stop saying this about me saying I'm a LeBron fan. Yes, I give LeBron his flowers, but my thing about with Kyrie Irving, you're not factoring in the other aspects that surround Kyrie Irving besides his game. We give him credit for his game, right? That's probably the most consistent thing that circulates around Kyrie Irving. The problem with Kyrie Irving is, one, being dedicated on the court, right? And I know when he's on the court, he is dedicated, but it's about off the court stuff, and then that translates to on the court stuff. You get what I'm saying? So the reason why I critique Kyrie Irving is because the fact that he left the Cavs to begin with, because he felt like he was a leader. He could be a number one on the team, and that's clearly been a different situation. All right, that clearly didn't work out for Kyrie Irving to leave in the first place.
I don't think Kyrie regrets leaving. I don't think Kyrie regrets leaving, though. Like, I think if you ask Kyrie, like, oh, do you regret leaving the Cavs?
Continue. Really? Talking.
Anyways, yeah, man. I support Kyrie Irving in everything he does. I think he's one of the most slandered players in the NBA for what he brings to the table, what he provides. Kyrie Irving's in the prime of his career. He's a 6'3" point guard who plays like he's 6'9", the way he attacks the basket. And yeah, man. I think Luka and Kyrie are gonna show the world that more stock needs to be put in Luka too. But definitely more stock needs to be put in Kyrie. A lot more stock needs to be put in Kyrie, man. But I like it, man. Sorry, my fault. My fault. NBA trade deadline's looking very interesting because if this trade were to happen last year, that would have been the biggest trade in the trade deadline. And I don't know if this trade is going to be the biggest trade in the trade deadline this year. I think that the Wizards could potentially be selling their entire team. I think Kevin Durant's definitely getting moved now. The only reason why Kevin Durant was stayed on the Nets is because of Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant's probably going to the 76ers for Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and some picks. That's a pretty good package the 76ers have. Just give them Maxey, give them Harris, and give them some picks.
Bro, a guy who chose Rudy Gobert last year over Harden wants to go to the same team as him. You wowing on that. And with Embiid, they're gonna have to trade Embiid for KG. Like, there is no way, or Harden and someone, like, there is no way the three of them are gonna be together on the same team. That's the wows.
You think I'm that wild for saying that?
Yeah,
you are.
Bro, so if it happens, say that you're stupid.
I will, but you're stupid for saying that.
No,
right
but
now.
if it happens, I need you to go on the podcast and say, my name's Artem Kochnov and I'm stupid, bro. Because I think there's a very, very high possibility that happens, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Sixers have a good package, man. But Pat, what team do you think Kevin Durant's going to, man? I'm curious what you got to say.
I think the Phoenix Suns are one of the teams that go after him because they have.
I think he goes to Phoenix.
I think the Suns are in the best situation to do something with that. I mean, they have the most unprotected. They have the most protected picks. They have a lot of draft capital, right? They can supplement with first, right? Because I don't think the Nets are going to be looking to exchange for a superstar. And I know the Suns are not going to give up any superstars. Maybe give up Mikal Bridges. I mean, that's probably the best scenario for the Nets in exchange for Kevin Durant. I think that's a good, I think that's a good way to offset that.
The Suns is a very good pick. That's a very good pick. I have no slander on you. The only thing I would argue, Pat, is that I think as an asset, as a trade asset, I think Tyrese Maxey, being young and being as skilled as he already is worth more than all the picks the Suns have combined. If they give the Nets Tyrese Maxey, because Tyrese Maxey is a guaranteed asset and he's young too. I don't think the Suns have something like that.
I got you. So who would you give up then on the 76ers if you wanted to try to go after Kevin Durant?
The trade package would have to be Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris. That way the contracts match, and give as many first round picks as you need to. And then you have a big three with Harden. You have a big three of Harden, Embiid, Kevin Durant. You put D'Anthony Melton at the 2. You put whoever the fuck you want at the 3. It doesn't even matter at that point. And then your bench is still nice. You still have Shake Milton, Montrezl Harrell, George Niang coming off the bench. So you still have a great team. You don't lose that much depth if you're the Sixers getting Kevin Durant. You still have a good 8-man rotation.
But you don't know what the Nets might want. They might want the bag how many picks do the 76ers have to give up for the Nets? Because the Nets
they have quite a few, man.
How many they got?
They have at least 3 first.
3 first? I think they would want more, bro. I think they would probably be in the same ballpark as like the Rudy Gobert trade. Because if I'm the Nets, I want the bag for Kevin Durant. I'm not just giving him up for 3 picks. I want at least 5.
3 picks and Tyrese. Pat, you're talking about Tyrese Maxey like this guy isn't an asset, bro.
Okay. And Rudy Gobert, look at what they gave up for Rudy Gobert. Look at what they gave up for Donovan Mitchell. You don't think the Nets are going to want something in that complements that? If you look at the Nets trade picks for the next coming years, Houston Rockets own a lot of their picks because of that trade for James Harden. So they're going to want to offset that with some draft picks. And a lot of draft picks at that, especially when you have Kevin Durant. Look, bro, you have a superstar. Whenever you have a star that people want, you have the leverage. Unless it's very clear that the team, the player doesn't want to play there, and then, other teams can try to play hardball, which is why I say the Nets are in the best position. Aren't the Nets, the Suns are in the best position to acquire Kevin Durant.
That's not that crazy. I definitely think it's close between the Sixers and the Suns, but like I said, Tyrese Maxey and 3 first-round picks is better than like Cameron Payne and 5 first-round picks. I think that's what it comes down to.
No, first-round picks is 100% better than
Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, bro, 3 more first-round picks.
Really depends on who you draft,
right.
though. Because at that moment, at that given time. So yeah, the draft picks too is a hit or miss. But it really just comes down to the players at that time. And not to mention, there's still a lot going on. The Raptors are in the works for making something happen with OG Anunoby and possibly with Fred VanVleet also. And then
they need to ship Fred.
Here are some of the players: OG Anunoby, Kyle Kuzma, Fred VanVleet, John Collins, Bogdanovich, Emmanuel Quickly, D'Angelo Russell, Jakob Poeltl, Gary Trent. Like, honestly, I'm gonna switch it up here. If I'm the Lakers, right? I'm the Lakers, because we know they were trying to go after Kyrie Irving. The 2 players I would go after would be either I would go after Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent.
I agree with you completely. I think Fred VanVleet is perfect for you.
And Gary Trent has been playing well also, if you guys haven't noticed. He's good on steals. He's a 3-and-D player. And I think it complements both players on both ends. I mean, both teams. But they would have to give up something on the Lakers' end. Probably definitely gonna have to give up those 2 picks. But we would have to see what in terms of personnel wise, how they would go about it. If you know what I mean.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
We'll take Russ. Raptors will take Russ.
So we'll see, man. All right, but switch it up though. I'm about to log off in a bit, but did you guys want to talk about anything? I am gonna stream again later. What are you guys doing later?
Yeah, I'm just dropping Artem off. We just saw some crazy ass movie. And yeah, bro, but we've been getting lit the last few days. Yeah, I gotta spend time with my family. I'm in my hometown, which I'm not usually in, so I gotta go see the family.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
Yes, sir. But hey, man, one quick thing I want to say before we log off. Just gotta get your guys' opinion on this, but I think the Miami Heat can make some noise. Like I don't know, man. Like, I'm looking at this Heat team, and they're not beating the Celtics. They're not beating the Bucks. They're not beating the Sixers. So I don't want to. I don't want, like, the argument is, okay, who cares about the Heat? But yeah, man. I was watching the Heat game the other day, man, and I think the Heat are better than the Cavs. And yeah, man. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot to discuss there. Bro. I mean, I ain't quite there yet.
Well, he could be active in his trade deadline. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, they have to. They have to if they want to make a move and be able to compete in this conference.
Hey, would you do Larry for Westbrook?
I don't know. Honestly, probably not. I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah. Straight up.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Definitely not.
I don't think
But-
that's any better.
But I'd like to point out, all you LeBron fans out there, that when the first day comes, they play against the Bucks, and LeBron will probably pass Kareem's record. You're making it look like the world will stop and it's something like out of this world about to happen. But guess what? It won't matter. In the end of the day, it all doesn't matter.
Of course it
The Lakers are not going to the playoffs, and it doesn't look good for LeBron's legacy after all. Listen,
Well, of course you say that. You say it doesn't look good.
Oh,
for
and that
the-
reminds me.
because
And
you
that reminds
only-
me. Y'all Laker fans are mad that Anthony Davis didn't get an All-Star appearance. You for a fucking 13 seed, y'all fucking want a lot of All-Stars. Let me tell you that right now. 2 All-Stars for a 13 seed is
So,
crazy.
hold on, but are you saying that he doesn't deserve to be an All-Star?
Absolutely not. There's a 13 seed. What are we talking about here?
All right, so let me say this: why is Jaren Jackson Jr. an All-Star?
Because he's the second best player on the second seed team. That's how the All-Star game works.
But Anthony Davis has better numbers. You want me to show it to you? You want me to prove it?
No, I know he has way better numbers, but you can't have a 13 seed can't have 2 All-Stars.
Davis played more minutes this year than Jaren
yeah,
Jackson.
but it doesn't matter. Once again, just like I brought it up with the LeBron's case, they're 13th seed. It all doesn't matter.
All right, but bro, what are you trying to fish here? You trying to dig just to be a hater, bro? First off, you're saying it doesn't matter. Like that's foolishness. It's blasphemous, and quite honestly, it's pretty freaking dumb to say that the all-time scoring record doesn't matter, bro. Like it does matter. You're not gonna see this. You're not gonna see this for another 20 something odd years, bro. For somebody to do this. That's all I'm talking about. I've only really pertained to. I haven't really even been talking about the Lakers in the playoffs. You guys have. So you guys, it clearly bothers you on whether the Lakers make the playoffs or not. I haven't said anything as it pertains to how deep or how far this team can go, unless I've involved the Lakers making any trade acquisitions in regards to the trade deadline, and I've maintained consistency with that. Right now, you always bring up all this other bullshit when it comes to MVPs and all this other stuff, but when I bring up an all-time record, right, which is one of the highest accoladed records that you can have to date, and you find any reason to look down on it, yet you say, oh, LeBron's not missing the playoffs, his thing is in shambles. That's honestly, bro, I'm gonna just keep saying this. It's a dumb argument, bro. It's dumb. It's a dumb argument, bro, to say that, because you have an entire career of LeBron James playing at a high level and playing at the highest level of basketball for years. Yet you can only point out the last recent years. But you bring up Michael Jordan, who you've never seen play, and you've never acknowledged, right, how he has six championships, but he played 15 seasons. So what happened to the other seasons, right? You don't bring up the years when he got knocked out. You don't bring up the years when he lost in the playoffs. You only bring up the championships.
And there is a whole career difference between the two. A Hall of Fame kind of difference with all the accolades, which LeBron can never come to. Where's the 9 scoring titles? Where's the champs, the
Need
MVPs?
the scoring titles, bro. You're trying to
Defensive players.
You keep trying to say that LeBron needs to have the same exact career as Michael Jordan. Get that out of your head that he doesn't need to have the same career as Michael Jordan. Do you not understand that? He doesn't need the scoring titles. Yet he still averaged 27 points while being an all-around player. People don't even look at him as a scorer, yet he has the highest scoring record than anybody in their career. You're trying to make comparisons. First off, bro, you're saying it's a team game, bro. Like, you compare with Michael Jordan and LeBron James, you compare apples to oranges. You bring up the titles, you bring up the scoring titles.
Apples are better than oranges.
Huh?
Apples are better than oranges.
That's your opinion, bro. I like oranges. You feel me? But at the end of the day, bro, you keep trying to make this comparison like it's like, oh, he has this, Michael Jordan has this. I ain't never even hear you say what LeBron has. I never hear you say that. I know what Michael Jordan has. I know. You don't have to keep explaining it to me. I know what Michael Jordan has on his resume.
Bro, I know too. 4 out of 9 wins in the finals.
Okay, it's a team game. Last I checked, 1-9 without Scottie Pippen in the finals. Did you not know? Do you not read my text when I bring it up to you? 1-9 without Scottie Pippen. What about the ones he won? Do you not bring about that? We talk about Jerry West is one of the greatest players. He has a losing record in the finals. Elgin Baylor, he was one of the greatest Lakers. He has a losing record in the finals. But LeBron James is the only player that you bring up this shit because you're a hater, bro. That's all it is. You just
There's nothing to hate. Bro. It's just blasphemous shit that I hear here.
Bro, you say blasphemous shit. Like saying Jokic is going to be a better player than Wilt Chamberlain, bro. And that's dumb.
Hey, we still have time.
No, there is no time, bro. There is no time. There is no time, bro. It's done. It's not even in comparison, bro.
Let's give you an example.
All right, give me
Jokic wins MVP, Finals MVP, and the ring this season.
Okay.
Is that not like top 5 center all time?
He would be I know he would retire as a top 5 center. You're not telling me something new. All I'm saying is, regardless of that, it doesn't push for his argument against other great players. He still has a whole career ahead of him, bro. Like, what do you mean? It just stays at that. If him winning a championship would only put him in the same conversation as Giannis, okay? Let that understand. Him winning a championship will only put him in the same conversation as Giannis, a guy who already has a championship. Getting a second championship, right, would then put him in the conversation with the greatest bigs. He's in that conversation. He's approaching. He's getting there.
I don't know where to go.
But it's not there yet. He's still in competition. He's still in competition with the players that he's playing against now. And you're trying to bring up names of guys that's careers cemented in the game, bro. Let me make you understand this. They changed basketball for Wilt Chamberlain. Right?
Okay.
Understand that. They changed basketball for Wilt Chamberlain. It's not even compared to what Jokic has done. Come on, man.
Okay.
100
but the case will be brought up for Bill Russell.
Bro, but Bill Russell has better accolades than him. What are you talking about? This is why I say you contradict yourself, bro. When you talk about Michael Jordan, when you make any comparison with Michael Jordan and LeBron James, you bring up the same things over and over. You bring up accolades and all this stuff, but you never bring up anything with any other player when it's compared to Jokic. You only bring up Jokic's accolades. They all have, bro. Bill Russell has 5 MVPs. Did you not know that?
He does.
He has 11 championships. You think he's gonna have 5 MVPs and 11 championships? No. So come on, bro. Keep it 100 here, bro. Keep it 100 here.
Yeah, but competition was different. Look at his competition during that time.
Jokic does not have competition like back in the day when it came to centers, bro. If Jokic even played in the early 2000s, he would get worked, bro, compared to today.
Yeah, guys like Amari Stoudemire, Ron Artest, and Ben Wallace would run his ass out.
Come on, bro. Like, keep it 100 here. This is not even a big man's game anymore. There's a bunch of rules. It's not even a big man's game anymore, bro. The biggest difference with Jokic, right? In today's game with a lot of players, he has a lot of those nice next gen stats. He's efficient from the field and he can pass. That's where I set him apart. But with great bigs, right? The greatest bigs were not known for passing the ball. They were known for dominating the game. And that comes with a different level of skill and perseverance and persistence.
And grit and grind and heart and all the things that come along with it. So
Right?
the thing about Jokic, man, is he has titties, bro. Like, look at him.
Bro,
The man's
what-
built like a
what
water
the-
sword. The man's tough, bro.
And is that why he's the best player in the league?
Who?
It all doesn't matter.
What?
I said that his shape doesn't matter when he's the best player in the league.
He's not the best
Clearly,
player.
it works out for him.
He's not the best player in the league. He's not. He's not.
That's not what the MVP ranking says.
Bro, MVP, that's just the best player that year, bro. Best player in the league is Giannis. MVP doesn't change that. That just when Derrick Rose went MVP, he wasn't the best player in the league. When James Harden went MVP, he wasn't the best player in the league. When Steph Curry went MVP, he wasn't the best player in the league. Right? So stop saying that, bro. It doesn't work like that. Right? It's not just regular season. Talk about playoffs too. Talk about playoffs. Bring up playoffs. Bring up crucial games. Give me a memorable playoff moment that Jokic has in the playoffs. I can give you one with Giannis. Can you give me one for Jokic? Can you?
Bro, time will tell. Like I've said before,
I thought so.
you're gonna see. You're gonna be proved wrong.
The best player in the world right now is Giannis. And he just dropped a triple-double and had 50 the game before. So you can't tell me he's going to move up in the rankings now.
The best player would be Giannis if Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Luka Doncic suddenly died.
Kevin Durant is having problems with Giannis. He's already having problems with Giannis, and I have evidence to prove that. You want me to show it?
And honestly, right now, I think we have to say Embiid and Jokic are better than Giannis too.
Embiid,
I think there are 5 players better than Giannis. Yeah, I think both those guys are better than Giannis, bro. Giannis' shooting has gotten worse. How the fuck did it get worse? It was already bad.
Bro,
how the fuck can it get worse?
Bro, he's not a 3-point shooter. You keep trying to instill that Giannis, a freaking damn near 6'11", 7-foot guy, has to keep shooting. He doesn't. In the playoffs, he doesn't do that. He doesn't need to. He shoots 60 to 70% from the field playing his game. You realize in the playoffs, basketball isn't played the same in the playoffs. You know that, right? Players don't play the same as they do in regular season in the playoffs.
And that's why I got a lot of stock on the Mavericks for that reason.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about.
I'm just saying, like, yeah. You need to shoot, man.
So come on now, man. Like I said, you trying to give flowers. You don't want to give LeBron flowers, AK, but you want to give Jokic his flowers really early. And I told you, the time has to come for him to take the mantle. Only way he can be above Giannis in his career right now is if he wins a title. I told you that. I told you that numerous times. That is my bare minimum. I don't give a damn what anybody else has to say. I don't care if he wins MVP, if he does not win no championship. That's the only way he can be above Giannis in the conversation. Because guess what? Giannis is in the same conversation as him. He's in the same conversation for MVP every single year. That doesn't change with him. He's still playing at a high level. Chris Middleton has been out for the majority of the year. The team as a whole hasn't been playing well offensively. It's been Giannis heavy. Yet
Middleton was a 2-season wonder.
Huh?
Middleton is a 2-season wonder. His time has passed.
All right. But yet the Bucks are still number 2 in the Eastern Conference and just one win under the Denver Nuggets. What a coincidence.
Keyword under.
One win?
Under.
Bro, add context to it. One win. That's a game, bro. We talking about 82-game season. It ain't football. This is basketball.
To add to context, they're also tied with Celtics, so they're pretty much the the highest seeded team in the league.
That means it's fluid, bro. The trade deadline is Thursday. There's a lot of basketball left to be played. There's a lot of basketball left to be played, and I keep telling y'all that. After this trade deadline, you don't know what this seeding is going to look like. The West doesn't even look at full strength right now. The East right now got the powerhouse teams.
I agree with you.
It's the East right now with the powerhouse teams. And despite that, with the injuries and the offensive efficiency that the Bucks have had, they're 20th. Not exactly 20th, but they're in the 20th. They're in the 20s when it comes to offensive efficiency. Yet, they're still number 2 in the East and one of the top teams in the NBA. So make it make sense to me, bro. Make it make sense.
It will make sense in the end of the day. When the June comes around, it will all make clear sense.
The Bucks in the East are the Suns in the West of last year. I think that's a good comparison.
Say again?
The Bucks in the East right now will be regarded similarly to the Suns in the West last year.
I guess, man. I guess. But hey, I gotta head out of here though. It's been a good conversation. I definitely want to continue with some more. If you guys wanna, keep going back and forth. But I gotta do this thing real quick.
All right. Yes, sir. Great talking with you, bro.
All right, y'all. So,
Yeah.
Let me know if you guys are gonna want to chime in later. Let me know in the Discord if you guys want to do another chat.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Peace. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah. Peace.
All right, so there you have it. Concluded another episode of Cash Media / Cash Sports. About to head out. Like to subscribe to the platform. Working on some things. Obviously, continuing to work. Continuing to do this. Remember, Kyrie Irving to the Mavs. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how it works out. But have a good day, guys. Have a wonderful Sunday, and stay tuned. Super Bowl coverage coming here pretty soon. Your Super Bowl is coming up next weekend. So, hey, I got to get into that football. But have a good day, guys. And thank you for watching Cash Sports.